Hey, John, we welcome you. Very, very nice to join us, by the way.
Oh,
Hey,
thank
hey,
you.
folks. Hey, folks, it's 6 o'clock. Yeah, it is 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. I'm going to welcome any and all visitors. Welcome any public comments that's unrelated to our agenda items. I'm shocked.
I'm back. I don't want to be back. I don't want to be back.
It's like having the flu, right?
Last time I was here, I
Keeps coming back.
apologized. I apologize to everybody. And you made me come. Corner Old Ark Road and Route 100. Page 4, section 2 of the zoning administrator handbook says, some smaller municipalities allow their zoning administrator to retain a percentage of the permit fees instead of receiving a salary.
Not here. Not here.
Is that a salary position or percentage? Salary?
Salary.
Okay, so it's not a money. Received another email December 26th from Jessica Roberts. The signs are still in the same place facing the road and visible as one approaches from the right of way. Same day, I came by Mr. Tucker's office, asked to be put on the agenda. Went to the site. The signs are still old and written in crayon and unlegible. When you're on Old Ark Road and you're facing the trailer, it's a distance of 125 feet. The business has been closed since Columbus Day weekend, and the parking lot isn't plowed, has a foot of snow in it. You can't see anything at 125 feet. You can't see anything at 100 feet, 75, 50,
Gee, that's
and
fine.
25.
Let's get to the meat of the matter here. You know, we can't do anything about it. It's all the zoning. Right?
Well, here, your declaration of inclusion here, if you just want to pay attention to the pink parts, that's what I'm here. Declaration of inclusion. Did you sign? I think Charlie signed it. I believe everybody else signed it. That's what I'm here for. This is an ongoing harassment issue with your zoning administrator. What I'd like to do is be put on your agenda. What I'd really like to do is that meeting before I'm on your agenda, I'd like to invite all the board members out and show them what the big violation is. I never even got time to winterize the trailer before snow came in. You guys know the food industry. I don't have the hood covered. I don't have the air conditioner covered like I do every year. Winter came hard and fast, but I'm still getting harassed by this. I wanted to leave. I begged her to leave. She doesn't want to leave. So now I have to do it. So here's something you don't know. I signed a 3-year lease and I paid it in advance. And I'm added to the lease myself so I can represent the property correctly. But this is unfair and shouldn't be going on.
So did you write a response to the violation?
No, I went and I bought canvas tarps and I nailed the canvas tarps over the top of them because I have a feeling ultimately a judge someday is probably going to want to see this. This is sad.
That's
Hold on. It was your
Jay, this is getting way out of whack.
it was your attorney that said the town had asked me to bring enforcement action, but I would rather see if we can work it out. So I'm not bringing up legal action. It was brought up to me.
Right.
I'd like you to see in person what it is that is the crutch.
But we can't do anything about it. It's the zoning administrator that would have to make the adjustment. Okay? We don't control the zoning administrator.
But if the zoning administrator is doing something wrong, who do you complain to?
I guess I would complain to the town manager.
Did that in the initial end of it. Did you take a written report?
Mr. Dubek, you've been referred to work with the zoning administrator and you refuse to do so.
The woman who hung up on me in
I
our
cannot do
original
any-
conversation.
I cannot do anything for you when you refuse to cooperate.
Cooperate. Did you take a report?
This is a comment period. This is not a discussion.
Well, you're engaging me, so let me
No.
comment. I
Ask me
mean,
a question. I said, I referred you to the zoning administrator and the landowner has to make an application. When the landowner makes an application, then it can be acted upon. Currently, there is a violation that needs to be cured. The only way to cure that is with the zoning administrator.
Say for the sake of conversation, you were a business. You would have an HR department. If you had a problem with an employee, you can go to the HR department, you can file a written complaint. I can't do that. This is my only complaint that I can get on record.
And you've done that many times.
Right. But it's still going on. I was happy to bow out of this.
No, again, I refer you back. There's no need to argue. I refer you back to the zoning administrator. You refuse to work with her. That's all I can do.
Can't work with somebody that's that unprofessional in creating problems that
Okay.
don't exist.
You really don't have any standing, Jason, because it's not your business and it's not your land. Unless the landowner makes you an agent on an actual application.
You know I own a trailer, right?
Unless
Which is
the
part of the business.
landowner makes you an agent on the application, then the zoning administrator will act upon it.
This is really sad. You know, you try to work with people, you try to bring it to the right people's attention. I've even offered for you guys to come out there and see it in person. Nope. Refer it to the person that originally caused the problems, that can't have a civil conversation on the phone. It's not professional enough to do
Jason,
that.
you refuse to cooperate at the same time, so I can't do anything for you.
Refuse to cooperate. I understand it's a thankless job being the zoning administrator, but there's a good way and a bad way to do it. Matt pulls me over because I'm breaking the law. And he gives me a ticket. I was speeding. I didn't have my seatbelt on. And I was talking on the cell phone. And he's told me, I'm gonna pay the ticket because I broke the law. That comes up to the guy, oh my God, I gotta get a whole riot act. You know, he's reaching for the gun, he's making a big idea out of all of this. It's taking it out of hand. This has been taken way out of hand. This is still part of my original complaint. My original complaint was for this board to take some responsibility for their employees. That was on the meeting of 8/20/24 at approximately the 13-minute mark. I said, I think that you need to bear a little bit more responsibility for your employees' conduct. Mr. Fitzgerald's response was, we're not going to do that. Me, I think you should. Mr. Fitzgerald, I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. So you have a rogue employee making up the rules as they go along, and nobody to rein him in.
Again, that's your opinion, and that's not what we're going to discuss here. So you've made your comment period. I think the chair is probably ready to roll.
Right. You know, so you're gonna have to work it out with the zoning administrator. That's who you have to deal with. If you made a modification up at the site,
That's not
you
happening.
put, well, okay, that, then see, you're the Mexican.
It's basically invisible. So we're talking about something that doesn't even exist.
Okay,
I've offered
All
to
right.
bring you to there and show you, but nobody will even go.
we wish you luck with it, okay?
I love the fact of keeping everything, the illusion of fairness while providing. Thank you.
Sure can. All right, any changes to the agenda, please?
Under number 8, we're adding the possible purchase of a new truck radio. So that is under the sewer commission. And the only other change is under the action items, where the select board is possibly appointing a liaison to the ethics commission and designate a complaint recipient.
Okay. All right. All right, so then we're gonna move on to approve the minutes of December 17th and 19th. We have to do this separately. So approve the minutes of September 17th. We have a motion.
Vincent was not here.
Okay, 17th, you're out, Vince.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion, a second to approve the minutes of December 17th. Less Vince. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Hey, John's out of his car.
Aye.
There you go. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of December 19th, 2024. We have a second?
Second.
All right, a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Aye.
Got it?
Under action items, we have 30 days from the 1st of January 2025 for the select board to possibly appoint a liaison to the Ethics Commission, designate a complaint recipient. This is a new law that went into effect, I believe, in June. There are many aspects to this, but we're going to do this step by step. So the first aspect is, who would you like to be your appointed liaison to the State Ethics Commission? And who would you like to designate as the complaint recipient? Typically, it would be either someone on the select board or yours truly.
I'd like
Yeah.
it to be yours
Scott.
truly.
Yes.
I believe the recipient has to go back to the Ethics Commission and ask for assistance with the complaint.
They can ask for what do we want to advice, I think, yes.
Yeah, the Ethics Commission can give them guidance about how to handle the complaint.
Yes, that's correct. They're available. In other words, Vermont League of Cities and Towns made it very clear that that's where the advice will come from. It won't come from them. So it'll come from the commission. So there's two potential positions, but it could be the same person. It may want to.
Is this going to take in? Do we have to have meetings on this?
Oh, you have no idea. Yes, you have to be trained on this. I was going to do this.
So we're going to have to do meetings in Montpelier? I guess that's my question.
I don't think so. I think probably they're going to do it remotely in some manner. But this is what I was going to. Once you establish the liaison and whatnot, we send that up to the commission. Then on the next meeting, we're going to get more into the detail. We'll send you more information. So late today, I think you got a quick summary, or you should have. If you haven't, we will send it to you. We'll also send you the chapter 60 under the Municipal Code of Ethics. This is entitled 24 Vermont Statutes, section 1991, which gives you an overview of all things with regard to conflict of interest and all kinds of definitions and how the public can make a complaint, prohibited conduct, and so on and so forth.
So the
And-
summary's in the back of the packet that they got today, and I did email it to John this afternoon as well.
So that's the down and dirty quick summary. We'll send you more.
Yeah, that's the quick one.
Yeah, we'll send you more information for the next meeting. We could talk, we can talk about it with some knowledge. The likelihood is that you probably want it to come out of my office. There's also, in terms of complaints, there's a reporting mechanism once the complaint is resolved, and there's a manner in which it will all take place. It's laid out in the statute.
Anyone interested?
In nominating Scott?
Hand so fast here.
Yeah, he's interested.
But this is mandate. This is mandatory.
You have no choice. This is law.
I know.
But it's, you said it could be select board or yourself as well?
I mean, I toyed with the idea if there was somebody interested on the select board, that maybe we'll send them up 2 names, because obviously you're not going to be able to organize this.
But it's a liaison. That's what they're looking for.
A liaison, yeah. It could be a board member. And then the second one would be a designated complaint recipient. I
Designated
suspect if it's a board member, they would be working closely with me.
What are the legal obligations for this person? They can be anyone?
No, I think primarily select board member or town manager, if I remember.
I think it just says employee,
Oh, okay, yeah.
town employee,
Okay.
or part of the governing body.
Well, here you have an ethics training and education, which requires a municipal code of ethics training for members of legislative bodies. or quasi judicial bodies. Is that going to bring in the DRB and the rest of them also?
Yeah, there's a whole list.
Oh, great. Huh? All right.
We can get into more detail, but you could change it. I mean, once we get more familiar with it, if you want to change it, you certainly could change it, I would imagine.
Yeah, there's no official form for designating. I just have to send an email to someone saying this is who was designated. It's, so if you change it later, it's,
So as far as the complaints go, do we handle all the complaints in-house, or does the state get involved in that?
Primarily it's in-house, but we probably will have to report on how we handled them. There's an annual report that will go up. I'm sure that they'll change the rules as time goes on and things of that nature.
All right.
So the legislature has been subject to this law for some time, and the only obligation we had was to report the number of complaints that we received.
Today.
Huh?
Yeah.
But the Ethics Commission did not assist us in resolving those complaints, which was good.
But typically, it's a select board that's going to help resolve them, as I understand right now.
All right. So, hey, John, are you interested at all in being liaison? But
Well,
up
I mean, I did help draft the state ethics laws, but not this component. I was opposed to having municipalities guided by the Ethics Commission, just because I think it would have led to a lot of frivolous complaints by people who were just unhappy, like the gentleman we just heard from. So I thought the Ethics Commission should get their feet wet with dealing with state government and the legislature. And in fact, one of their first acts was to screw up with respect to a complaint against Governor Scott.
Right, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah. So I am obviously very well versed in the law if you would like to appoint me.
John, I heard the stuttering too. So, it's kind of, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I guess I'm just.
I'd be happy to do it. I understand the law, so I know the executive director of the state ethics commission
Okay, all right.
and most
So
of the members.
for at least the temporary time.
No, this makes me very happy. Thank you, John.
John,
Yes, thank you, Jen.
Barker,
Within
Immediate.
30 days of the first appointment has to be, so that's why we're doing it today. So the question is, what's the timeline from January 1st? Yes,
okay, all right.
and designate a complaint recipient. Oh, who might that be?
You can give it to me.
are we voting on them as well, or are they just doing a consensus?
No, I think they should vote on it.
All right.
So is it both of you, Scott and John?
So we say Tom for the complaint recipient
Okay.
and John for the liaison, is that what we're saying?
I thought you were going to participate as well.
Oh, I'm sure I will participate in some manner.
He's gonna have.
As part of the vote?
He's gonna have to.
If someone would like to make a motion.
Make a motion to appoint John Gannon as liaison to the Ethics Commission and Tom Fitzgerald to be the complaint receiver.
All right, we have motion to second. Actually, it's a motion.
I didn't hear anything that was just said.
So the-
Jessica, I can't hear either.
Okay, so can you hear me?
Now I
No, I didn't hear anything that has been just being
So the
said.
motion by Charlie is to appoint John Gannon as a liaison to the Ethics Commission and designate Tom Fitzgerald as the complaint recipient.
John, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
It's unanimous, Scott.
Who
Thank you.
was the second? Vince was the second. You have made me very happy.
This looks
Thank you.
very interesting. though, doesn't
So we'll have to figure out how reporting will go if Tom is gonna be the complaint recipient.
Yeah, we can take care of that.
Can't give out a cell phone number.
Well, my hope is that, given that I've almost served 10 years on the select board and we haven't had an ethics complaint yet, that we will continue that tradition.
Yes. At any rate, we'll send you out more information and we can have maybe a full discussion at the next meeting. Next is the Trails Committee. The select board to possibly authorize Gretchen Haverluck. Oh, Gretchen is here. And the trail committees to submit the full recreational trail program grant application for additional hoot toot and whistle project funding on behalf of the town. And Carol is in the hot seat.
Yeah.
I'm gonna turn, can you hear me? Can you hear me up? Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna turn the hot seat over to Gretchen because and Joanne is also on the Zoom.
Right.
They're doing a lot of the work. But if you have
Well-
questions, I can answer them too.
We're here tonight for a simple ask, and that's a follow-up to the fact that we, with Gretchen's help, the Trail Committee submitted the pre-application for the Recreational Trail Program Grant, which, to remind you, has a $50,000 maximum with a 20% match. So the match can be in kind or cash. And we can certainly we can fulfill $50,000 worth of expenses. So Gretchen received notification from the grant assessment committee on December 13th that our application successfully met all of the criteria. So we have been invited to submit a full grant application, which will be due on January 31st of this year. And the money, if we feel the project is very well aligned for the requirements and scope of the grant. So we'd like to go forward with your approval to complete and submit the application. We're still haven't exhausted all avenues to gain a cash match. So, but we certainly have in kind already incurred expenses that qualify for the match if we need to go that route. So our ask tonight is primarily and principally to ask for your approval to move forward with the application.
Yeah.
Are there any questions or
We need a
anything I
little
can
money to get
clarify?
money. We need authorization to get the money. So it's an additional grant. We already had one grant that we received. That's the VORAC grant that Gretchen and we worked on last year. And then there's still money that we need for additional pieces of the Hoot Toot and Whistle Trail project. And so this would be hopefully up to 50,000.
Right.
Actually, with a cash match, it would be
With the
62.5. So we would be able
Right.
to leverage all the potential money if we get a cash match.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? I think this is kind of a no-brainer. I think we should be able to do this one. I'm gonna make a motion, in fact, to authorize Gretchen Haverluck and the Trail Committee to submit the full recreational trail program grant application for the additional Hoot Toot and Hoot Toot and Whistle project funding on behalf of the town. We have a second.
Second.
We have a motion to second. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Carol.
Those are going great guns here.
Next up is the 1% local option tax request. The select board to possibly approve the Wyndham County Arts and Cultural Plan developments. A request in the amount of $1,666.66 for a municipal planning grant match. And Gretchen Haverluck is up.
Yes, thank you. So, back in October of 2023, I came to you regarding, this consortium application for a municipal planning grant, for a county-wide, arts and cultural plan. And, we were successful in that grant, and we have hired, a consultant, and he has been touring Windham County. He's been here, let's see, I think 3 times. And we are moving forward. We are about halfway through. And this is a consortium with the town of Brattleboro. Sue Fillion is taking the lead on it, and the town of Rockingham, with Gary Fox, and the town of Wilmington. And Wyndham Regional Commission is also, Matt Backler is actually giving time to this project as well. So this is our portion of the total match of the grant, which is a total of $5,000. Don't you like how it comes out to 66 cents?
I love that. I always love that.
$1,666.66. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
I'm really, I just want to add that I'm really impressed with, there's been a steering committee that's been developed, and the excitement around this is really incredible. And people, have not dropped off the steering committee. There's a lot of energy around it. So I think this is going to be good for Windham County. And I hope our own planning commission actually adopts a small portion of, for a arts and culture plan in our town plan when it comes around next year.
What is that all about? What is this whole thing about?
Gretchen, Barker was asking what. Can you describe it some more?
I'm sorry, who is it?
Barker?
Oh, hi, Barker. So it is a plan that will help the creative economy within Windham County. More like making not only, it's diversifying ourselves actually to be not only a resort area, but bringing more, like we already have a lot of arts and culture here, but it's not advertised well. It's not cohesive with other plans. I mean, and it includes from, like the landscape architect to, performances, musical and plays and, the visual arts. And so it's a large undertaking with lots of energy. Do you have a specific question around it, Parker?
Curious what it is, and is it more for advertising?
Barker, you gotta come down here and speak to the microphone, please. Thank you.
Is this just more for the advertising piece of it?
No, it's creating an actual, like a strategic plan for all of Windham County. And we would have to go after grants and things like that to implement this plan. I can't tell you what that strategic plan is going to look like because we don't have it yet. But we are definitely moving forward and working on, who's going to implement it and how it's going to get implemented.
Between 3 other towns?
Yeah, well, there's a lot more involved now.
I don't, I'm just curious what it was. That's a very broad statement of whatever its description is, so. That's all, just curious, thank you.
All right, any other questions? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion
to approve the Wyndham County and Arts Cultural Plan 1% request in the amount of $1,666.66 for a municipal planning grant.
Say
match.
that again, Joe.
Yeah,
Say that again.
$1,666.66.
Oh, okay, okay. A lot of sixes there.
Can't make it
All
a
right,
7?
all right. So we have a second? All right, we have motion second to approve the Wyndham County Arts and Cultural Plan Development request for the amount of $1,666.66
Broke it up.
as a municipal planning grant match. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you so much.
All right. Done deal.
Thank you, Gretchen. Number 6 tonight is the town meeting articles. The select board to discuss articles for the town meeting warning as we're getting ready to do articles. These seemed appropriate to bring forward. The suggestion from the clerk was on number 1 and number 2. I'll take the short one first. Is shall the town vote to appoint a moderator for the town meeting? That would of course go on the annual meeting warning. And then the larger one is shall the town vote to rescind the operation of licensed cannabis retailers and integrated licensees, except for those licensed cannabis retailers and integrated licensees operating at the time of any rescission pursuant to Title 7 Vermont Statutes Annotated 863 sub A sub 2.
Anybody have a question on that? Let me explain what's going on. We probably should have done this when we first started having retail shops opening in the community. And we've talked about this. In fact, we talked about some of the obviously participants out here who were selling this stuff, that perhaps we don't want more people knocking on our door to open up yet more shops. We just don't want it, okay? Yes, it's approved. The shops are here. They're going to stay here. All right, unless one goes out of business, and you just have one. It's a through attrition. So what we want to have is have an ordinance in place that's going to not keep the door wide open here, so everybody can come in and apply to open up an herb shop or whatever you want to call it, a bud barn or whatever. So we're just trying to limit what we have in our community. That's all. All right. We heard a rumor that it was going to be started by a number of the people here in town who sell marijuana, and they were going to come up with their own. So we had our attorney come up with what we felt was the right wording, and we're going to put that in. It doesn't close them down. It doesn't do any. It doesn't limit them in any way, but it just doesn't allow new folks to come in. All right, that's what the whole idea was.
The other part is that the state regulates liquor stores, how many in a geographic area, and they have not seen fit to regulate cannabis retailers in the same way.
In fact, there's no way that they're regulating anything like that. No matter what the complaints seem to be, we don't get any response. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Yes.
So you said one closed down, we dropped to one. What if two dropped down? None.
Kind of like Elmo's ducks, you know, all of a sudden there's none, right? Okay, I'm so happy because I play that for my kids all the time.
Whoever speaks really needs to come up because we can't hear anything.
I can repeat it. Nikki asked what happens if both stores close? Does the ordinance stay in place or can it be rescinded?
You can always rescind an ordinance. All right, the intent right now is just to limit that type of sales in the community. That's all. We haven't had anybody object to it.
It's not an ordinance. You're simply,
well,
it's a policy. So currently, remember, it had to be voted upon by the voters in the first place, twice, I believe. And twice the voters approved. And so this is just asking the voters, shall we cap it where we are? And that means no. So if both went out, then there could be another petition to allow another one, you know, another opening. So.
I guess you're gonna speak either way, right?
Could you include box chain stores into that ordinance?
No.
You're kind of doing the same thing, it sounds like. You know, they had the problem with dollar in the Dunkin' Donuts. Now you're going after the cannabis.
We're just limiting. We are not excluding. We're just limiting.
we're just following the statute.
Saying, can you include box chain stores into that?
No, it doesn't include box chain stores. Sorry.
Okay. All right, and now the thing about the town moderator, you're gonna hear more about this on town meeting day. Our town moderator moved 150 yards north from where he's been living all of these years, which puts him in another community. That's why Sarah's no longer here either. So we don't have an alternative for our moderator that was duly elected to handle our meeting this coming March. So in consulting with our attorneys, it was determined that what we can do is open the meeting, either myself, Scott, whatever, one of us, open the meeting and then ask for the very first article for the people to vote on allowing Mr. Fisher to be the moderator for our town meeting in March. All right. Now, I'll be real honest with you. I don't believe he's going to run again. At least I haven't seen have you seen it? Have you seen?
He can't run.
He can't run. Okay. All right. So, but again, so we're going to have to kind of come up with something. We can convince Bob to do it a couple of years. It'd be nice. But I don't know who else we go to at this point.
I mean, his suggestion was there might be someone else and he's happy to step aside if there was someone local who wanted to be appointed, but he was happy to be appointed if that's what the body wanted.
Yeah.
You get.
I did some research on this, I don't know, a while ago in the fall, I guess, after the Fishers moved. And then I did a little bit more today on state statutes. And I couldn't find it again today, but when I looked the first time, I thought I did find that the moderator is not required to be a town resident. Is that your understanding?
No.
By
No.
appointment.
We can appoint. That's where
Okay.
our attorneys have taken that
Oh,
step.
okay. I said I couldn't find where I'd found it the first time. Is this just a one-year deal? And then it would go back to Australian ballot? Because I don't believe you can switch it.
It is on the ballot this year.
Right, but it's because there's an empty, because he's resigned, or he's not going to do it.
Right. It's always on the ballot, so it will continue to be on the ballot if someone.
Right, but
if
then I
someone
think
would
you
run.
can't switch from it being on the ballot to being a floor vote.
No, because it's an empty position, we're asking the voters will be asked at the meeting to appoint a moderator.
But then what I'm saying is in a year, it would go back to being on the ballot again. Is that?
That's
No, it'll be on,
correct. Oh,
it'll
yeah.
be on the ballot this year.
The Australian, yeah, okay.
Yep.
But you're,
It
but
has,
as a vote, I mean,
It has
right
to-
now you go in and you check, we don't do it
Right.
from the floor.
no, but it has to be voted on every year.
Right, I understand that. but this year it would
No,
be.
but we'll ask the floor. We will go to the floor
Right,
and ask them if anybody has any objection to it,
okay,
that we would like Mr. Fisher to be the moderator for this year. We're going to have to kind of figure out what to do next year. That's what we're going to have
Okay.
to do.
and the reason he can't be on the ballot is.
It's an elected
okay.
position. He doesn't live in town
He
anymore.
doesn't live in town. I wish I could find where I'd seen that, that there was very little requirements for for who could be a town moderator, and that they didn't have to be a town resident, but I can't find that now, so, okay. But he will be voted on, a town moderator will be voted on by Australian ballot in the future. This is the exception to the rule.
This does not deter anyone from taking out a petition to be town moderator.
Okay.
And any petition for a candidate must be a registered voter. So
Okay.
that's where it falls in terms of you need to be a registered voter.
Yeah. Okay. So you're just filling a spot for this year. Okay.
And it could be somebody who takes out a petition. It doesn't
Right.
have to be Bob Fisher, but he said he would be happy to do it.
Okay.
And we're very happy to have him. Let's put
Oh,
it that way.
I totally agree. I think he's a wonderful town moderator.
The trouble
But-
is at the time of the start of town meeting at 10 a.m., you will not have completed, Australian
right.
election, ballot election. So you would not have a winner.
Exactly. And the
So
win,
this allows you to appoint someone to cover your meeting and yet still.
because basically he's not eligible anymore. So there's a vacancy.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. All right. That's what I thought. I just wanted to.
And Nikki, 17 VSA 2646 requires all town officers, including the moderator, to be registered voters of the town.
Well, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'm not sure yet.
I had done some research on those things, but I'm
That's-
sure that
That's
I
in the
found
law.
something. Yeah. Thank you.
That's the law.
All right. Any other questions on that?
What's the process with these two items?
If there's no objection, we'll put them on. There'll be articles if there's no objection to them.
Tom, I wasn't sure if now's the time to ask with all this discussion, are we having in-person town meeting? Is there any issue with that this year at all?
You mean, are we going to try and put it on Australian ballot this year?
Right,
It
just curious.
breaks my heart, but no, we're not going to do
Thank
it.
you.
Okay.
We did bring, I'll give them to you. We had compiled a list of things that people were interested in doing to help turn out. If I can share. If we
Oh,
do
sure.
anything, as individuals, I think we're happy to work on it this year. So that was from a couple of years ago. Great, thank you.
Okay. All right. Anybody have any other questions?
John, could you hear that was Meg that has a list of ideas? We can send you a copy.
Okay, that's great.
Yep.
Scott, I was just reading the moderator handbook very quickly. And it states that the last elected moderator serves as moderator until a new moderator is appointed or elected.
Oh, hey,
Great.
that's good news.
Well, that's even better. So we may not need this articles.
Yeah, now that was a quick reading as we were discussing this in the last 5 minutes. So
Well, and John, not all of us could pick up the moderator handbook and come up with that kind of a conclusion, but I'm glad you did it. Thank God you're here.
Yeah, and then, so the only question would be what's case law in terms of someone moving, right?
yeah, it doesn't really, well,
Doesn't-
I'll read the whole handbook and figure out what it says, but that's what it. I mean, for the first sentence is like Vermont law and the role of the moderator is very sparse.
That's
Okay.
good. That's good. Unless anybody has an idea of someone that perhaps could run next year. I don't know.
Okay. I know Bob had an idea, so he's pursuing. I
Okay.
think he's pursuing
Right.
that too.
All right. Okay, Scott.
Now that Bob is not in theory living in Wilmington, I guess is how this is all going. It would be no different than when we open up the meeting that you're also saying that Scott and anybody else that's on the board that is not in the town has that right to speak. Is that how that would work? John?
Repeat that, please.
So when Bob has opened up the meetings and most times he says that so-and-so, so-and-so, and so are not residents of the town. I'll just use Scott Tucker as the prime example.
I am.
He's registered
I am a
voter.
registered voter.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
In the
this-
past, that has been true, yes.
Okay, but in the past, but you asked the body
Yeah.
if it was all right, would this be the same instance with Bob? If it was okay for you to speak, would the same rules apply? if Bob-
Well,
No,
notwithstanding what John just said, that would be the idea of the motion to appoint a moderator for town meeting.
which would give him the opportunity to speak on all matters. I
Yeah,
think that's
but
what,
but because he was the moderator last
Correct.
year, that's kind of made this a null.
which
and void.
that's a wonderful thing that John just came up with.
I would agree.
That,
Good job, John.
knock on wood. We have to thank John for that one. But the moderator handbook, I'll tell you, they got. them
Nikki,
all,
why
I
don't you
guess.
start sitting closer so you don't have to stand?
I had found the same thing that John had found about the time, because the term runs until the next one is elected. And so if you vote by Australian ballot, but those aren't counted until after town meeting. Bob was elected last year at town meeting, and because we do Australian ballot, his term runs until the votes are counted after town meeting. But my question was, does he have to resign because he's no longer a resident? Or can he complete his term?
That's what we're gonna,
Because he
that's
was
what we're gonna
elected.
check on.
Yeah. I just wanted, so I do have the VSA quote too, if you want it. One other thing that we had talked about on the list for maybe getting more people to town meeting, that's not on the list. Last year, we did approach, actually it was Bob, to see if he might run a sort of town meeting introductory course. We have an awful lot of new people in town who have never been to town meeting. I suspect that some of them are, they don't know what goes on. They don't know much about parliamentary procedure. And we never got it organized for last year, but I thought maybe Wilmington Works or somebody could organize an evening or an afternoon, especially for new people who've come to town or people who have never been to town meeting, just so they might feel more comfortable. They know how it goes with motions. That's not on the list. I am happy to help organize some of those things on the list. I think we got more people there last year, but I think, and I know that both Jessica did some things through the newsletter, and Therese did some things. But I think there's more we could do to encourage people. And one of the ideas I like the best is to try to get some new people and educate them about what town meeting is and what the procedures are, so they don't feel uncomfortable if they came to the meeting. So if you ever wanted to have any of us come in and discuss that list, I think we'd be glad to.
Right. Any other questions? None being seen, Scott, let's move on.
So it sounds like we have general consent.
We do.
Number 7, FY 26 budget, which you reviewed the previous meeting. The select board to possibly approve the FY 26 budget.
Okay. Got that right here. So these are the corrections from the last time we went through it, right?
So, yeah, there's a number of highlighted things. Does somebody want to explain the highlights? I know they're new numbers, but
I can hardly see the highlights on these, John.
yeah, but it just says new numbers. Increase, decrease.
Wait, so John had an email and I did not print the budget in color for you guys to see.
So the highlighted numbers are
Okay.
numbers that we have gotten that are final numbers, whereas before I had just guesstimated or estimated the numbers. So I had just gotten in the bill from VLCT for the insurance and I hadn't had a chance to do the breakdown. So I've done that. So those numbers have been updated based on the new bills. And Jessica was able to of Wyndham Regional and found out what their fee is going to be for next year. There's the visiting nurse. You guys had discussed having it removed and having them petition. I left it in the budget for right now because if they petition, we would still want to make sure we have it accounted for in case it does pass. If they don't petition, then I'll take it out before we do the final budget. And then I think the last thing that's highlighted is the county court. And that's another one where I have not received a final number from them. It seems like it's usually the beginning of January when we get something, but as of right now, I have nothing. So that's just a guess.
Okay.
And that's based on grand list and our CLA is only at 91 and
Yeah,
so
that's.
who knows what they will do to us.
Who's gonna come in and explain that to us?
Explain what?
The 91,
I have no idea.
that's really disappointing.
I thought so.
Well, here's, we just went through a reappraisal and our CLA came back at 91%. I don't get it. The prices went up substantially on most of everything. And I don't know how this came back at 91%. We should be over 100% easy on this. Well, and I'm not sure what that's going to bring in the future for us either. So it just.
The new law is the new law that is in place requires a townwide reappraisal every 6 years.
Correct. And it also added a statewide common level of appraisal adjustment to your CLA, which will also change how they calculate education taxes. But
I know there's been a lot of promises that things were going to be done.
it'll be interesting. It'll take us another 5 years to figure out what they're doing.
At least, yeah.
Very disappointing. Yes.
But, and I wasn't sure. My only question really is, I see it's up 6.29%. Is there a summary like that you could just share?
Well, a lot of the bigger items, Meg, and I think that we're going to put some kind of a sheet together on it. One of the things that's absolutely crushing this year is the insurance, the health insurance. We are now, state of Vermont is now the highest health insurance in the United States. I don't know how that ever happened either, but that's where we're at. Between that and trying to retain some of our certified people, we didn't think anything was exorbitantly done, but everything has gone through the roof. Sand, salt, you name it, oil for the trucks. One of the trucks, in fact, has been refurbished rather than replaced. We're trying to save money every which way we can do it, and it's becoming very hard to do. And I do realize that. I know we're not in the bad situation that they are in some of the other towns right now, where they're up 24, 25%, but it's still, it's really hurting. The state isn't helping us at all either. So anyway, we can always blame the state. I love to do that. So yes, we'll get the larger items, Meg, put together as kind of a cheat sheet, just to see where the larger increases have been. We haven't gone well with this. One of the big things too is the fact that we didn't have the surplus that we've had in the past. The surplus was a lot lower than it's been for a while. Our revenues are down. There's a number of things that are down, but just hold on for dear life, I think, here at this point. Yeah.
I
You look
mean,
concerned.
there's really not any big ticket items.
except for the insurance.
Well, and I mean, our insurance only went up 10%, which I know when I say only, that sounds crazy with 10%, but there are other places that ended up with insurance at 20% increases.
Well, however, do we get that second kick here right after the town meeting or no with the insurance?
Well, in January.
So
January,
the
okay.
insurance, yeah, the insurance goes on a calendar year, both the health and the property, casualty, all those insurances, and it's all the insurances are up.
Well, I saw workers' comp is up pretty good now too, so.
Yeah.
But of course, that's a lot of medical. Anyway.
Yeah, but yeah, there aren't any like things that we could really point at saying this is like where you're seeing like the biggest increase. It's just a little bit here and a little bit there. There's not really much of anything that's large. You know, planning for the future on some things and
Have they let us know what the school is going to? Why do I
I
even?
know
why
nothing.
do I
I
even-
know
why do I
nothing
even
about
ask
the
that?
school, Tom.
Why do I even ask that? God almighty. Okay, thank you.
You have a preliminary on what the town rate plus would be?
We can't hear anything that's being said.
Barker, you gotta
You're
come down.
looking for what the tax rate might be? Is that what you're looking for, Barker?
Would increase on the penny to dollar or whatever.
So the estimated tax rate that I have right now, which is based on our current grand list, would be 0.5583. Yeah. We're at 48. Yeah.
Well, that's without any increases in the grand list, which we anticipate.
Yeah, I mean, the grand list is going up still. It's probably not going to go up anywhere near what it did this last year, but any new builds would be adding to what the grand list is. So that rate probably will change some. But yeah.
Megan, the home sales still very strong.
They're really off, but they were their peak.
Okay.
Less than that number. But yeah.
Meg says things are selling in the housing market, but they're off by about a half from it was a year ago.
Thank you.
Well, okay, we thank you.
Are you gonna vote on it?
Huh? We're gonna have to. We have to move this along. We have to get this to the printers anyway. All right. So would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the full year 2026 budget as presented.
It's pretty vague, isn't it?
Fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
All right. Do we have a
Fiscal
second?
year.
We have a motion and a second
Sounded good.
to approve fiscal year 2026 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
John's up there. Aye. Yeah. Okay. All right. Christine, thank you. All right.
Would you like to enter the sewer?
I'm
commission?
going to move that we go into the sewer commission. Put on your boots, folks.
Do we have a second for sewer?
Second.
Thank you.
Don't you have the wrong uniform on here tonight?
Yep,
Boo.
I am.
First up, under the sewer, are we in the sewer commission?
We are in the
We
sewer
are.
commission. That
The
is
sewer
correct.
commission to possibly approve the purchase of a new truck radio from Procom in the amount of $6,445.27 out of the wastewater capital.
Okay. So these are funds that you already have, correct?
Correct.
All right.
I think John's trying to get in line with the
Yeah,
fire
I didn't
department.
realize you were gonna start there first.
You
this
need
is-
it? Do you need it or do you have it?
No, I've got it. These radios are identical to what you just approved for the fire department. So it'll create a better, safer communications between us and highway, fire, police. Pretty important safety, safety factor. The radio we have now was a used one that we put in when Troy Johnson was fire chief, so it's pretty old.
Gonna bring up old hurts here, huh?
They're bringing
Yeah,
up
there
old
you go.
parts, yeah.
Troy
I think-
Johnson, my God.
I know we went over our capital account when we talked about the budget. I think Scott, we said we were somewhere in the $250,000 range right now. That's our plus.
Okay.
We've had probably $30,000 added to
All
that
right.
since that last budget review meeting.
We will get you the new radio, I guess, John, huh?
I think it's very
know it's
beneficial when
necessary.
now's the time to do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're out and about and like Scott said this morning, the more eyes and ears that are out there and we can communicate with each other, that's
And emergencies, emergency situations.
emergencies. Yeah,
So would you like us to vote on that first before you get into the inspection?
please.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna make the motion. We approve the purchase of a new truck radio from Procom in the amount of $6,445.27 out of the wastewater capital account. All those, I'm sorry, second. All right, motion is second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right,
Scott, do you want to take care of the other little stuff or do you want to go right into the inspection?
No, you can skip, go ahead.
Go into those, okay.
The inspection is a longer discussion, so.
Yeah. So we have. I was asking for some extensions to, and I don't need, this doesn't have to be written down, just, I'm looking for verbal approval to extend both Cliff Linolens and I'm drawing a blank. For the other one.
Andrew
Andrew.
Katsoftis.
Yeah, two new houses on Fairview. They're both working on, they've met their requirements for preliminary approval. They're in the permit process or construction process.
Okay.
So we just need a little more time, and instead of doing a 3-month, I was hoping to go basically a 6-month to June for those two. Just wanted to make you aware of them, and if anyone, we've done this before, we tried to stick to our timeline, but it's not always easy for these people to get their permits. The one on Fairview is a little unique because they have to separate the lot. Yeah, that's it for those two.
Can you just for Charlie, can you explain what that does or does not do for?
Sure. So when someone wants, for example, we've got someone who wants to build 2 new houses on Fairview Ave. So what they have to do, they have to make sure that we have gallonage or allocation at the wastewater plant to handle that. So what they do is they come to us, we grant preliminary approval. Normally it's a 90-day approval. That gives them time to get state permits and other local permits. After they get all those permits, they come back to us. They come back to us
what
and
I
ask
have, you
for,
can't get.
they ask for final approval. If we grant final approval, they have 6 months to pay the remaining allocation fee that's due. Within 6 months, either 6 months or when they begin usage of that new.
And what's the town's, how many gallons do we have in the town available for allocation?
We have, as of, so this one, we have 2 like criterias. If our permitted flow is 135,000 gallons per day. Last year, we averaged 85,200. And then if you subtract, you have to add what gallonage we have committed, like current allocation projects. So right now, there's 42,270 gallons available. But we do have there's another little requirement. If we reach 108,000 gallons a day for 90 consecutive days, so that's like a trigger where we have to contact, our engineer has to create a document, prove to the state that we can continue to handle that flow. We've never even come close. I think I've added it up. We may have reached 20 days at one point where we're ever over that 108.
Yep. We have
So
260, 263 customers in that range.
So if you calculate, we're still 15,000 gallons from even hitting that trigger. Each bedroom is 140 gallons. That's a lot of bedrooms and you know, seats, restaurant seats and that type of thing.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I printed out something kind of neat. So like I say, as of January 1st, we have 42,270 gallons of gallons available. At the end of 2015, we had 48,000. So it's only a difference of 6,000 gallons in 9 years, almost 10 years. So, our flow since 1988 is actually decreased over the years. I am seeing our last 5 and 10 year projections. We're up a little bit, but we're still down quite a bit from when we were.
Okay.
Everybody's using low flow devices. That's helped a lot. We got a tremendous amount of infiltration out of the system over the years. We still have quite a bit. You just can't stop it. But we try. We keep working at it.
So we
I
have,
love it. With the use of low flow, you know, the 1 gallon per flush, this type of thing, whatever. And it ends up penalizing us. I mean, that's just amazing.
You know, all the washers, you know, everything is using less. Everything uses less flow than it used to.
so we have no objection. We have general consent.
Correct.
Thank you. Now the fun part.
The fun part. So we typically the state comes every 3 years to do an inspection. The last time they were at the plant was in 2015. So that's the last time I've actually seen somebody from the state. Yeah. And that was right when we were starting our refurbishment project. So they really didn't do a whole lot because we were upgrading everything. So they came down, and before they came down, they gave us an 8-page questionnaire that needed to be filled out and submitted back to them before they arrived. Very, very detailed. They wanted to know total footage of your lines. They wanted a breakdown of you know, how many feet of plastic pipe, clay pipe, all that stuff. How many force mains, how many river crop, a ton of information that it took a couple of weeks to get all that information together for them. So at that point they came down. Scott joined us for a couple of hours, I believe. They spent 5 hours. 2 of them were down here for 5 hours.
Really? They could find something to do in 5 hours?
I told Scott I was mentally drained by the end of 5 because I mean, for 5 straight hours with no breaks, just one question after the other. And can I see this? Can I see that? So
You took them on a tour.
They wanted to go see a couple pump stations. So we went to check out a couple pump stations. I believe we saw at least 2. We went to our main one down here by the liquor store, and we went to one by the mobile station. So they have 5 rating categories. There's excellent, acceptable, conditionally acceptable, marginal, and unacceptable. We received the acceptable, so a 4 out of 5. They found 3 corrective actions that they are requiring us to address. Number 1, so we have a nitrogen optimization plan. It's to make sure that we are meeting our nitrogen and ammonia limits. And apparently at the end of the report, I haven't been writing one sentence that says if I've done any optimization to improve the nitrogen removal or not. So I need to add one more sentence to my annual report. So nothing too serious. The next one we had, if you remember I guess it was almost a year ago, it was in March. We have a percent removal. So we have BOD, which are like the bad bugs, and TSS, which is the solids. You're supposed to meet an 85% minimum percent removal. We got an 84.4%. I made the note in my monthly report, but apparently I was supposed to call them immediately as soon as I got that number and contact them. So there was that case. And
You have
then,
to call them, or can you email them?
they need to be notified.
Boy.
So you can do an email.
All right, I'm just curious.
And then the other one was way back in December of 2023. We had a violation of the amount of solids per day. It's because our flow is like 1 times half normal. So same thing. I was supposed to. So we'll take care of that. We'll make those adjustments. The third thing that we needed to correct right away is we did not have a certified thermometer to calibrate our existing thermometer. So we had to go buy even though there's no permit limit, it's silly. I spent $300 and bought a certified thermometer. It just came Monday. We checked it yesterday, and believe it or not, it's exact. Our meter was exact 20.6, exactly what the certified thermometer is. But now we have a $300 thermometer that we have to do this. And along with that is we were doing everything correct, but we weren't documenting enough. So I had to create 4 new forms, one that we do daily, just add more numbers in there to prove that we are calibrating our meter every day, and just document. So those were the 3 corrective actions that were required. We had 6 recommended actions. The first one was we hadn't had our backflow preventers inspected for a while. They've since been tested and inspected. They're concerned that we don't have enough staff to adequately run the plant.
Would they like to chip in?
Scott wasn't there when they talked about this. They put a lot of pressure onto me. They really wanted me to say that we could not do our job with 2 people. They wanted us to say, and I told them that, I've said this before, sometimes you can use 5 people, sometimes 1, there's times, we get highway if we need it. Anyways, what we're going to do is the New England Water Pollution Control has basically it's a calculator, staffing calculator. They recommended that we go through that and make sure that we have enough staff. They also talked about succession, which I've already started working on well over a year ago. I'm totally rewriting our operation maintenance manual. It's going to be a very extensive document where someone could walk in and do everything from presenting these allocations to you guys, to doing the budget, to all of our daily stuff. So we're working on that. And Scott and I will be talking about that more in the future. They suggested we cover our sludge. And I replied to them that, yes, it would be nice, but we have some much more important capital plans that we need to do before we do that. And there was a little hole this big on our RBC that is not covered. They want us to cover that. So we will take care of that to keep them quiet. Not all of our confined spaces have a sign that say it's a confined space. So they suggest we have all of those marked. We will work on that. And the 6th thing is what everybody's talking about is cybersecurity. They just would recommend that we check to make sure that we are not vulnerable, and that
Because your stuff is so exciting that we want to.
yes, that people really want to get into what there is, we do have remote access to some of our things.
Is the new, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, no,
The new computer company that's doing the.
that'll be part of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll wrap all the departments into that and try to identify what their needs are. Yeah.
I'm on the board of directors for Vermont Rural Water, and Vermont Rural Water was just chosen one of only 2 states in the country by National Rural Water to actually start doing cybersecurity training to facilities. So, and they're looking for people. So we have some sources, some people we can talk to, and they'll come down and do a free assessment. I took a class back in the spring. There's another EPA funded thing where a guy will come in and not only do cybersecurity, but he'll do overall security, fencing, cameras, signage, all of that stuff. So we're always looking into that and working in that direction. So overall, there's some policies and plans and procedures that just need to be looked over and updated. They found no error. They wanted to see 3 years of our monthly reporting. They found no errors in those 3 years. Talked about the staffing. Overall, they were very impressed. They said that they had not been to a facility where they had seen so much detail documented, graphs, charts, all that stuff. So that was good to hear. They did not put that in the report.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Did say it. Scott was there.
It's certainly to your credit, John, that you have everything in order there.
So anyway, Scott,
the bottom line is they're not coming back, right?
They're not coming back.
So when would they come back? Another 10 years?
They say every 3 years they try. Yep. So it's based on our permit. So we had to submit our new permit for renewal in March of 2023.
All right.
They've already told me that they're not even going to look at it until 2026. So I'm sure we won't see them again until at least that permit is in place.
That's unbelievable.
We've had this argument. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I think you guys have seen, you've seen the report. I don't know if anyone had any questions.
No, I thought it was a good report.
Yeah, they were very
The stuff
detailed.
that he was talking about sounded very petty. Right?
Well, they have to find
does he
something.
get upset about all those ducks there floating in the root beer pond?
No, they didn't worry about the ducks.
But they're
No,
adding fresh to the pond.
There you go.
So that's gonna throw your numbers off.
It's just kind of the stool pool. So
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Cy Lavoie used to come down to the plant, and they used to have the open reservoir, and he said, "Yeah, I see the same ducks up there." I said, "Well, they have to go up there and wash off." So they would just go from there. That was our running joke for a long
Cy
time.
was a pistol too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that was it for.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we did really well.
Well, I guess if you get harassed and with pettiness, you're all certified people. So, and the state has to realize this. I mean, this is getting to be ridiculous. It really
We
is.
don't hear from them. I mean, I've told you the things that have changed so much over the years. I've called with questions up there, and the person didn't even know that they were in charge of our plant. Honest to God.
Really?
I called and said, "I've got this problem." "Oh, am I the one that's responsible for your plant?" I mean, that's that's how much it's changed, in the 37 years.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. Yeah. Like Scott says, they have to find something.
Excellent. It was an excellent report, I think.
It's like the
and-
health department. They have to find something.
They have to find something. They've got to justify. It's
And-
like when we had VOSHA here.
Now, do we have to report back to them? You have to report back to them in
I
writing.
already did. I sent an email. We didn't have to, there was nothing that required anything in writing back to them. All of those 3 required things I think I've addressed every one of them, actually. I just shot an email back.
So nice to keep them at arm's length, as we all know. I mean,
Nice.
the state's a killer. They just are a killer.
John runs a tight ship. It's reflected in the
So-
report, I think. So
One of the first years I was at the plant, of course, Al O'Neill was around, and the state came and he said, "You can leave and unless you make an appointment, you're not coming in here." And he wouldn't let them in the facility.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, things have changed. We're good to go. All of those people are gone now.
I know. It's amazing. A little Vermont windage there, I think, and they could take care of things. It's good. Great. John, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same to you.
Tony's got New Year on the mind here today, so. Okay, other business, Scott.
I have nothing for you
Nothing.
under this category.
Okay, select board comments. Tony? Oh, mother of Jehovah. Okay, Vince? No.
All set.
All set? John?
Just want to note that our guest at the beginning of the meeting also attended the DRB meeting yesterday evening.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. And one of the things that we did learn at that meeting that we did not learn tonight was that Jessica Roberts has had no contact with Jason for 3 months since December.
Yeah.
So, as Scott pointed out, he needs to deal with our zoning administrator.
Well, yeah, and John, the thing is, it's his girlfriend is the owner. She's the one that should deal with it. He just, for some reason,
No,
keeps interrupting.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's frustrating.
He really does not want to listen to anything anyone has to say.
Well, I would say, how about your zoning board up there in Searsburg? And they said, that's like putting a Torah in a mosque. I mean, that just didn't happen. We know that, but yeah, what are you going to do? Oh, well.
On behalf of the zoning administrator, I want to thank you for your support as a select board. So.
Well, it's hard. I know that there's also a lot of people are receiving notes now if they're out of compliance. Hey, by the way, that reminds me, our friends over here, if they're out of compliance, isn't one of the things the Cannabis Review Board always says to us is that if they're out of compliance with ordinances, that we don't have to renew or do you think that they'd just sign it anyway, the state?
I think that certainly could be a discussion point when they come up for renewal.
Okay, I'm throwing that out to people, that's all.
We're limited, as you know, but
I have never seen so much stuff crammed into one little area over here. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But
I don't get it.
I mean, if there's a notice of violation, I would think
They get a permit.
that it would be appropriate for the board to make sure it's cured. Yes.
Anyway,
I watched that stuff. They got a 99 out of 100 on their scores with that. So
Because they weren't open yet.
for the hot dog.
Because they weren't open yet.
Oh, for the health inspection?
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait until they're open and actually.
It's like
in
Jezebels.
business.
I never knew how Jezebels ever passed, but they always got.
Oh,
is she still here?
Yep.
Is she?
She owns a pub, doesn't she?
She owns
think
the building. Yep.
She
Yeah.
wants them out.
Yep.
From what I hear.
She owns the pub.
Okay, town manager update, Scott.
under the heading of assessor, you saw the 2024 equalization study results. I know you did because you mentioned it.
Yeah.
So you'll notice, and by the way, as you know, I am not an expert in this, but you'll notice that the equalized education grand list, this is the state's number, is 1,255,336,633. That's the grand list that the state recognizes. Our grand list that we reported on what's called a 411 form is 1,147,111,116. Either way, you notice it has risen. I think we were close to $750 million the last time. Common level of appraisal is 91.36. I talked to Russ some length, and I will admit I don't understand it all, but he felt that the number he came up with was closer to 96%. But at any rate, this is where the state is at. The coefficient of dispersion, otherwise called the COD, is 18.23%, And Russ expects the COD number will go down next year. When the COD rises above 20, this will trigger a townwide reappraisal. In 2024, the legislature established new townwide reappraisal criteria that towns will be on a 6-year cycle, regardless of the COD. This means that our next townwide reappraisal is 2030. Even in our discussion, he said, even if our COD rises above 20, there are no available appraisers. He knows of towns who are reporting that their RFPs are going unanswered with no bidders. In the meantime, the Office of the Assessor reviews sales and listings through online apps like Realtor.com and updates assessor cards accordingly. Property owners will receive their change of appraisal notices after April 1st, and that's an annual activity. The state recommends, he said the state recommends that listers and assessors follow listings to update property cards. PVNR, a side note is, I asked him about outliers, and he said, well, the PVNR, he's had a discussion with them on high and low property valuation outliers, and he said PVNR eliminates low property valuation outliers, but they do not eliminate the high ones. And Russ said that appraisers are booked out to 2029 at this time. On the police department and fire department, this is a letter or an email that was sent by Principal David Potter to our public safety officers and transportation professionals. I'm writing to you today with sincere thanks from all of us at the Twin Valley Middle High School for your rapid and effective response to Tuesday's accident with one of our school buses carrying students to school. I have heard nothing but praise from everyone here who was involved in some way with the accident and its aftermath. Thank you for your care, sensitivity, and for prioritizing everyone's safety in this challenging situation. Sincerely, on behalf of our entire staff and faculty, David. And we received 2 letters of commendation from Chief Morano. On or about Christmas Eve, Officer Kirkman conducted a domestic investigation and followed up with the Wilmington Police Department social worker. When he learned that the elderly resident had no primary heat in the residence, he and the social worker helped to get the heat turned back on, but in the interim, due to extreme cold temperatures, Officer Kirkman took it upon himself to purchase firewood and delivered it to her. Chief Morano praises Officer Kirkman for his high level of service, his role as a community caretaker, and for the compassion given to our community, which reflects greatly upon the Wilmington Police Department. On December the 28th at 7:20 p.m., Officer Richard Levesque, he's our new officer, and Officer Kirkman, who is the field training officer, assisted a disabled vehicle in town by helping to change a flat tire. The motorist was very appreciative for the assistance. Chief Morano thanked Officer Levesque for his actions and for his role as a caretaker in our community. This type of interaction reflects with great credit upon the Wilmington Police Department.
Do you know how much Officer Kirkland's found the firewood?
I do not. If you would like to direct me in that area, I will take care of it for you. So the question is whether or not Officer Kirkman was reimbursed, and the board would like me to see that that's done.
John shaking his head, I got a thumbs up, Charlie's on board. I anticipated that you might like to do that, so yes, I'll take care of that for you.
He's a good guy.
Good
man. How about the fact that we have a Richard Levesque as a clown? If you remember, Richard Levesque was the French teacher up there at the high school.
Oh, yeah.
Dick Levesque, yeah. Oh, yeah, so Dick was a retired priest. Crazy as a woman.
We have the superintendent of highway here, but he did update me over the Christmas couple of weeks that I was gone. And there are a number of things that he has been working on with his staff. So winter began with heavy snowfalls in late November, early December. So that means that they also had, with the warmer weather, after that, he had an early mud season in late December with warm weather and lots of rain. It's a little early to tell, but it looks like a small section of the trial oil and stone on Shearer Hill is not going to hold up like we'd hoped. There's a section there that he's paying attention to, and Allstate Group will come back out to look at it. And he has also said this is an area where they haven't historically had a lot of mud there. So it's an
Sarah
ongoing.
can't complain though, can she?
I don't know. I drive up there a lot. There's like, yeah. Are you talking about where they used to? Over the top, yeah.
It's an area where it pitches down. So with the help of Jessica Archibald, he's applied DeFrancesco, he's applied for 2 grants for a culvert on House Loop for $20,000 and another for their Green Road project. Remember the bridge over there, in the amount of $60,000. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with those grants. Since we've been having a lot of little storms with ice, having spent and used more than half of his salt budget at this point in time. He's still down 1 new truck, but is hoping to have it in service by the end of the week from the body company. On Thursday, that would be January the 2nd, his 2021 Ram 5500 salt truck broke down with transmission issues. So it's at the dealer, hoping to have this back within a week, and it should be under warranty. On Friday morning, that'll be January the 3rd, his truck number 18 2020 tandem dump truck, the sander chain broke, and he had to repair that. That took him half a day. And the repair cost, they did that in the shop, but the cost of the repair was still $2,000. Memorial Hall is closed up for the winter. It is all winterized, and the highway department helps with that. Actually, they take care of it. There were a number of nuisance beavers that are no longer in Beaver Brook. Leave it to your imagination how that was handled.
Tell us.
The transfer station backhoe water pump failed, but it is repaired and back in service at the transfer station. This work was done by highway crew with parts just under $3,000, and it's old enough that it is not under warranty. Painting is started in Town Hall again this winter. Just to remind you, we have we received 2 PVNR appeals that are pending for dates, and 3 court appeals for Wyndham Superior Court that we're waiting for docket numbers. We haven't received.
Who are the three in court, Scott?
140 Elwell Heights. It's
Okay, all right.
Ziggy Zastowski.
Yeah.
43 Three Stearns Way. That is a Lacombe Revocable Trust, Elizabeth Lacombe. And 21 Aldrich Road, George Zeringer III.
Oh, George.
Nadel Myron.
My good buddy, George, yes.
So although they've been referred to the town attorney, we can't do anything. He can't do anything without docket numbers. And if you haven't had a chance, please take a look at the new website. And if you have any suggestions, send them to Jessica.
It looks great, Jessica. You did a great job. Much easier to use than the old one.
Thank you.
There are some tricks to it. She's teaching me a few tricks to get around a little quicker, but it will take me a little time. That's all I have for you outside of an executive session.
Okay, folks, we're gonna go into executive session here. All right, so. Oh, thank you.
All signed.
Well, we will after the, yes, after the motion.
Oh, that's right, too. Forgot about John. How can I do that?
Thank you.
This changes. 4. Need that. Or that. What I need.
Do you need some help?
No, I think I have it.
Smile.
Smile more
There you
often.
go. Warms up the whole. Got John laughing already. Look at that. See? Like a ray of sunshine.
How you doing out there, John?
Good. We have plenty of snow if you want some.
You can keep it.
No way, I want it. Send it over.
Move.
Okay, Scott. A possible real estate purchase. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to move to premature general public knowledge would clearly place the town or municipality involved at a substantial disadvantage. All right, somebody like to make a second?
Second.
All right, the motion a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right.
Aye.
So I also move to enter an executive session at what's the time?
7:36.
7:36.
Second.
7:36 to include the town manager to discuss confidential communications made for the purpose of providing professional purchasing and sales agreement to the body. All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. The motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are formally in. Okay. We've come out of executive session and with no action taken. All right. And so with that in mind, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Let's go back. Is the recording back on?
It is.
That's on right.
Thank you.
Right.
Motion to
So
adjourn.
moved. All right. We have motion and a second. All right. Motion was made by Vinnie and the second was by Tony. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Hey, John, you have a great ski week here.
Thanks.
I'm sure it is good too.
See you, John. Thank you.
Nice to see
Yep.
you, John.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. The weather is
I just like-